Good afternoon, this is Mike Dilbeck, Railway Timber Service, Timber Products Inspection. The purpose of this short video is to show you how to use some of the equipment that I'll be supplying to you so that you can take core borings and wood shavings out of the utility poles that are surrounding your ball field. Now today I'm going to be using some 2x8s because I'm making some new ramps for my four-wheeler, but the process is the same whether I'm using lumber to get my cores or whether I'm trying to take the cores out of a 30-inch circumference utility pole. Now, I've got some equipment laying here. First is a standard hammer that you'll need to supply. Next is a 6-inch core bit that I'll supply. I'll probably put 2 or 3 in the box in the event that you might break one. Next is the core extractor. I'll show you how to use that in a moment. Here's a couple of typical wood cores. Yours will be should be considerably longer than these. I'll provide you with some drinking straws so that you can put the cores inside the drinking straw, and that way it'll help the cores remain intact during the shipping process. Now the cores have 2 ends, obviously, so you want to put the outer, which will be the surface of the pole, the outer part of that core into the drinking straw, and then staple the ends of the drinking straw and put a mark on the top indicating that that's the outer surface of your core. And you staple both ends of the drinking straw, and that way the core won't come out during transit. Okay, up here I have some treated wood plugs to put back in the holes that you make in the poles. I've got some sample bags where you can write on those with a Sharpie marker or a ballpoint pen. Now, I also have and will supply to you this wood bit that's taped off at about 2 inches. Now the purpose of that is to take and remove wood shavings from the poles as you sample them. Now you'll need to make a drawing of the field, and you'll need to label each pole either 1 through 5 or A through D or E or whatever method suits you, but you'll need to collect some wood shavings from each pole, and I'll send this example bag along. I'll need about that much dust wood shavings in a sample bag labeled by pole number or pole letter. Now this location for taking these shavings would be somewhere between 4 and 6 feet above ground level, and you can just sort of scatter that about. You might have to take maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 holes up to that 2-inch mark, and then collect the shavings as best you can. Put them in a sample bag, label it, and then put treated wood plugs back in those holes. Now this is a non-destructive test. Utility poles allow much larger holes than this when they're new, so it won't compromise the structural integrity of the poles in any way. The next thing we have here is a drill extension. You'll be using this in the electric drill that you provide. Now today I'll be using a 1/2-inch Milwaukee drill which will do the job fine on the 2x8s. But since you'll be using a drill and drilling utility poles that are quite dry and have been in service for a considerable amount of time, you will probably need a much stronger drill. Just make sure it has high torque and low speed, and then you should be able to get your cores and your bit into the pole up to where my thumb is right there. Okay, then I will supply to you in the box a bracing bit. I call it the Armstrong method. Hopefully you won't have to use this, but in the event that you can't find a drill that'll do the job, you can use that bracing bit, in which the core bit fits into the end of the bracing bit, just like that, and then you tighten it down with an Allen wrench that I'll also supply with the box. Okay, so that's in general the equipment that will be necessary for use in taking your core borings and your wood shavings. The only thing I didn't mention are a couple of these glass-like rods. We talked about these on the telephone, and these are rods that are made out of a preservative and have the consistency of glass. They're basically borate, and they're inserted into poles or timbers, especially where you're going to have moisture contents that are pretty high. Anywhere moisture is present, these glass-like rods break down and diffuse, and that borate preservative goes in different directions from the area in which they're located and gives the pole or the timber added protection and benefit against decay and insect attack. So I'll include these just as examples, and in the report that I send you, I will indicate to you where those can be obtained if you're interested in going with this project further and trying to maintain the poles that you have. Okay, so the next video that I make will be one actually taking the core samples.